It's kind of like an artist that paints on a canvas. My jacket is my canvas. And more than anybody else, Kobe understood that.
Your brand is generational.
Yeah.
That is not a small thing.
Legacy is very pretentious, but it's also very humbling. You're not going to be here to see the result of how good that fruit tastes at the end.
I mean, you came here as an immigrant and are completely integrated in the culture of American society.
The beauty of being an immigrant, and where I see where the advantages that we have is we're hungry.
Do you think that the Kobe jacket is the most important piece that you've made in your career? Hey guys, welcome back to Too Personal. I'm Joy Taylor. Thanks so much for joining us. Make sure that you hit subscribe if you haven't already and follow us on all of our socials at Too Personal Show. I am so excited for today's episode. You are going to love this conversation with Jeff Hamilton. Jeff is a legend. He has an incredible story. He's an iconic fashion designer known for his leather jackets that you've seen in every rap video, on every athlete, on the top 75 and the top 50 NBA players, NASCAR, everywhere. He will tell you his incredible story, but I love this conversation with Jeff, so we'll get to him in a second. But I have been dying to talk about this. So I don't know if you guys saw, but there is a housing development in Ravenden, Arkansas, and the founders say that in order to live there, you have to be white and heterosexual. It's called Return to the Lands. They call themselves white identitarians. It's a 160-acre compound, which has about 40 residents, including 12 homeschooled children. And applicants to the community are screened with an in-person interview, a criminal background check, a questionnaire about their ancestral heritage, and sometimes photos of their relatives. Now, of course, civil rights advocates are claiming that the group could be sued under the 1968 Fair Housing Act and the U.S. Civil Rights Act of 1866. I have to tell you, I've thought a lot about this, and I think they should go for it. I'm here for it. If these fucking weirdos want to go out into some patchy lands in Arkansas and live amongst themselves and turn their family tree into a wreath, I say, let them have it. I don't want to move to Ravenden, Arkansas. Send them there. For years, I've been saying, let's get them all together and send them somewhere. Ravenden, Arkansas sounds like the perfect place for a white people compound that don't want to interact with anyone else. Listen, I have no desire to move to Ravenden, Arkansas. These white people with their little compounds are not changing my life in any way. And I have to tell you, while this seems troubling, it's really not to me. But the one thing I will say about these white identitarians who have created this little village in the woods, I'm going to need them to fully and completely commit to this racism and bigotry. Because what is exhausting me is this racism light and this bigotry light. Stop serving up Greek yogurt racism when we know you're really full sour cream. Babes, your ancestors would be so disappointed. You're just not going all the way. If you're gonna build a compound where you are screening people to make sure that they are pure white, I'm also going to need you to live off of the lands. I don't need you coming into the city and buying things from stores where Black people are working. I don't need you buying vegetables from brown immigrants who have farmed them. No. If you're going to live amongst yourselves, if you're going to go as far as buying a 160-acre compound and sourcing families of pure white heritage to come and live in this rocky patch in the woods, I need you to commit. Because this beta version of racism is really corny to me. I don't believe you. I don't actually believe you. I think you're up to something much more sinister than just racism and not wanting gay people around. Because you have to live off the land. Go be farmers in Arkansas. Get the well, get your water, from the little creek, grow your own vegetables, have your little farm. But we don't want you back. If you're gonna go, and live in your pure white, identitarian, elitist, superior race shit. Prove it, baby. Prove it, because you're going so light with this. It's really not enough. I need to see you commit. Please. I don't want you popping up at no Taco Bell. I don't want to see you at a Taco Bell, baby. You're not going to Taco Bell. I don't want to see you at no restaurants with any spice. All right? Stay your ass in the woods, in the rocky patch in the woods that you sourced out. You got plenty of room, and stay the fuck out there. We don't want to see you amongst the browns. We don't want to see you amongst the blacks. We certainly don't want to see you amongst the gays. You're not coming in town for no decorations, baby. Stay in the woods. This is a good thing. We are looking at this the wrong way. These people should be isolated. They should have their own place in society where they can share each other's views. And the reality is they just want to fuck their cousins. So let's just send them into the woods and let them have their time. I don't want these people walking around me. I don't want them anywhere near me. And I would really like signs to know that I'm not welcome. Oop. Did I find myself in Raven Den, Arkansas? Time for me to turn around. They don't want me around here. Let me just go on ahead and just do a little U-turn. Thank you for the sign. Thank you for the sign. No blacks, no browns, no spice, and no gays. There's nothing in there for me. Let me get the fuck out of here in a hurry, baby. Don't worry. You ain't got to worry about me. But I want them to be serious because it's weak shit. Your Irish, Polish, French, British, Scottish, Scandinavian ancestors are looking at you from hell, wondering why you didn't just fully commit to this white heritage shit. Because you're just not going strong enough. Of course, I say that because all white people in the United States come from immigrants. Of course, I'm assuming that most of the people who are going to this compound do not read much, so they don't know that. But actually, this is not your ancestral land. Like, if you have the ability to track your ancestors back that far, you're going to get a little bit of news. They're not from the United States of America. They're from a place called Europe. That's where white people are from. But don't let me bother you with any type of facts. Go on and build your little rocky compounds. I hope the ground is good because you're going to need to farm there. We don't want you over here. We don't want you over here either, baby. Don't ask for no salt. Don't ask for no imported nothing from an Asian country. I don't want to hear anything that you need from South America. Stay committed and say the fuck in Whiteville, or what's it called? What are they calling it? What's the official name of it? Return to the land. The lands, that's where you need to be. That's where you need to be. And while I'm saying this with a little bit of jolly in my tone, I'm actually quite serious. I don't want these people anywhere near me. I have been hoping and praying for the day that all these people will just go to an island, but Arkansas is good enough. Get the fuck out of my face and go to this little corner of the earth and live there and farm and be amongst your people. Be amongst your people. I mean, this is a brilliant idea. We don't want you over here fucking anyway. So go live off the lands. Don't come around here asking for no spices, nothing from any other country. Get your shit together and prove your ancestors right. You're the superior race. Figure it out. Now, I have my doubts that you're going to be able to pull this off. But if you are fully committed to your whitedom, I believe that you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to prove me wrong. Because right now it just seems like, you know, you want to fuck your cousins. So that being said, let's get to Jeff Hamilton. All right. I am so excited to have my dear friend, Jeff Hamilton, the legend, fashion designer behind some of the most iconic sports looks of all time. Of course, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, his championship jackets. I'm wearing one, which I got a compliment on immediately as soon as I put on. I haven't worn to a Heat game yet, though. But I do have an exclusive Jeff Hamilton, which is really nice. But welcome to Too Personal. Thank you for coming down.
I'm honored to be here.
So Jeff, one thing about Jeff, the first time that I met Jeff, I thought I was telling a really cool story. And I forget who I was talking about, but I was talking about The Rock or I don't know, somebody. And every person that you bring up, Jeff has a cooler story, like a cooler interaction than you have with this person. Guaranteed. No one on the planet has more stories with more people. You have so many genuine friendships and relationships that span across your career. But one of the more fascinating things from a sports perspective is just the moments that you have been a part of because you've made the jackets for these championship teams. So, well, I guess let's start with the Kobe story.
We can.
We can start with the
We can,
Kobe
yeah, no, but,
story.
it is kind of, I'm still amazed after doing over 40 years, 45 years I've been in fashion, and I'm still amazed by the power of the jacket.
Yeah.
It's amazing that I've been able to basically have access to everywhere I've wanted my whole life. From the White House to the Guns N' Roses studios to the locker rooms of Mike Tyson, who was training for his first fights and being friends with Muhammad Ali, and of course Michael Jordan, and since 1986, and Kobe and LeBron, and so it's been like a dream life, especially because I love sports and being around it, and also have them look at me in a different way than somebody else, because
Yeah.
I bring something to the athletes and the culture that they don't have. So it's kind of, they look up to me in a certain way without sounding pretentious, and it's, but I'm still a groupie. I'm still a fan. So for me, when I look at it, I count my blessings every day.
You have, I mean, you just ran through a list of obviously some of the biggest legends in all of sports. I think, I mean, when I think of your jacket, obviously the Jordan jacket, the Kobe jacket is like the image that pops in, like, Kobe's leaning over the trophy and he has it on. But your jackets have really, they've been commemorative of some of the biggest moments in culture and fashion and music in sports. When you see some of those old photos, does it like take you back to those moments?
It only hit me like only 5 or 6 years ago, when I came out of retirement right before COVID. Uh, I never really just did anything calculated. I mean, really, I was an immigrant, like moved in 1980, and with a wife and two kids. At the time I married when I was 19 years old, and I just kind of like really wanted to hustle, and I wanted to work, I wanted to make money. I really would. I mean, I was really passionate about what I designed, and I really was a perfectionist. That I didn't care if I lost money on when I created a design, but it had to be something that I would wear or something that would fit. That there is a choice that you do when you become a designer or a host or anything like that. You put your name on it. It's your reputation behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to stand behind the quality, and so even I made some jackets sometimes. That I didn't make any money. I lost money, but I made sure that I did it over and over again till I found it perfect. So, and in the last 5, 6 years, I started looking at it and say, "Oh my God, I cannot. I cannot imagine I did that like 30 years ago." And it's just like very rewarding for me. Not from an ego standpoint, but it's just like, where did I come with that idea at the time?
Well, when you're in the moment of it all, right? You're kind of just putting out your work, right? Like once you perfect it and then you're working. And I mean, I've seen your space, like Jeff is working a lot. So you kind of don't really come up for air to like appreciate all of it.
Correct. Yes. I don't. I I really have made a decision like many years ago that I just don't really. I mean, as cliche that it might sound, I don't live in the past. I don't live in the future. It's just like I really truly live in the present. I'm, I appreciate the past, and it's great for storytelling and anecdotes. And the future is, who knows. So for me, I do everything with love and passion, in a moment, and whatever happens after, happens after. It's like planting a seed every day, and maybe the seed will take, maybe the seed won't take. Maybe if I put the right amount of love and and sunshine to that seed, maybe a little twig will come out, maybe a little trunk will come out, maybe a branch, maybe a leaf, maybe one day a fruit will come out. And when that fruit comes out, I might not be here, but that's why I'd like to think that I might have a legacy. So legacy has it's overused by a lot of people, but legacy it's very pretentious, but it's also very humbling, because who the f do I think that have a legacy? One, and but also it's like very selfless, because you're not going to be here to see the result of how good that fruit tastes at the end. So who's going to taste it? Maybe my grandkids, maybe my family, maybe the little kid that is listening to this show and might be inspired by what I do, and gets motivated to try to follow some of the things that I do, and that would be that's my biggest reward for me. I get fed from trying to help out people and try to inspire others.
Do you feel like you've done everything that you want to do in your career?
No, no, that's kind of like the fear. That's probably the only thing that's kind of, I'm not gonna say haunt me, but it bothers me. I mean, I just don't want to be on my deathbed. Who knows when, tomorrow morning or in 30 years from now or whenever, and say, you know what, I did not maximize my potential. I mean, right now I have so much to give. I mean, I have to. I mean, it's like I have to control the faucet. I mean, that my fire, I have to control it, because I don't want the fire to go out of control. It's just, and all I do is, like I said, same thing with the seeds. I plant every day, I create sparkles. And I have people around me try to build up those sparkles and try to build up the fire. And then hopefully when the fire is built, I go and dance around it. But I just don't want the fire to go out of control, because it's just, even as of now, I'm still working 10, 12 hours a day. And people look at me and they look through my page and Instagram and say, wow, this guy is blessed. I mean, he's like everywhere. He's in Paris one day, he's in Tokyo the next day, he's there, he drives this car. But really, it's just, they don't see, like you said, the back work. I mean, and the back work could be accounting, could be production, could be, but fortunately enough, I'm passionate about all of it.
Well, I think that's important with art, because being a creative can sometimes push you in a space where you're maybe only good at the creative part. And I'm sure you've worked with people over your career that have unbelievable talent, but they don't have the focus and the discipline, and they don't have the fire, as you said, in all areas of business. And to be as successful as you have been for as long as you've been requires those other things, or at least the awareness that you don't have those skills, and to put the right people in place so that you can build and like scale the business. Because being creative is more than just having the talent to make something beautiful.
What really matters is the fact that through the journey of life, the most positive moments in my life were my biggest failures. So the more I failed, the better I came. The better I came up. Just I became better at it, at everything I did, because I kind of, again, it sounds so cliche, or the things I say, but it's just learning from your mistakes, and learning the discipline. And I attribute my discipline maybe to my education. And, I was a really good math student, and I was, because I grew up as a nerd. So for me, it was very important for me to try to be accepted. And I learned that I refuse to procrastinate. I don't want procrastination in my world. I mean, I don't, and also I don't want to be entitled. When I came to America in 1980 and 1983, I just don't know anything about fashion. I barely speak English. I don't even have a green card. And, but I have ways to do things, and I knew about licensing, and I just got the first license of Guess Jeans for men. I found the company of the men's company as a licensee. Next thing I do is next year or 2 years later, I'm like $75 million in sales. And we're talking about the 80s. I mean, I'm barely in my 20s, you know? And you start believing your own BS. You start believing like, I'm the man, I'm the one. I mean, of course, you build up the confidence, and you get the money, and you get the reward, and you get also like the side things, but it's, fortunately enough, I never was into drugs. That was one thing that I had. In fact, when I moved to America, I never had a drink before, never smoked a cigarette, never did a thing, so, and you realize, it took me maybe 40 years to find out that, 35, 40 years to find out that really you cannot be entitled to anything in that way, and you have to be grateful for what comes in, because whatever you have today could be gone in a second. It's just, you never know. I mean, it takes, if you took the big tree in Yosemite Park, how they call it, the general, the grand old,
The sequoias.
the sequoia tree, right? If you take that, I don't know how old that tree is, and you chop it up and chop it up and chop it up, and you're gonna have millions and millions and millions of matches. It takes only one match to burn the whole tree. So that's how sensitive our life is. How we hold by a thread, and we, whether we are religious or not religious, I believe in the laws of the universe, and we're basically an antenna. We are channeling what we are, and through our process, we educate ourselves to be better at what we do, and we know more the right way, to the right path, how to do it, however long it takes to get there. But you enjoy the moment, because you don't know if tomorrow morning you're going to be here.
What is it like when you're interacting with the young people now? I mean, you've had a career that has spanned so many different.
What do you mean to say I'm old?
No, I mean,
just kidding.
they're young. They're young to me. I'm saying, like, you have. But what I'm saying is, like, your brand is generational.
Yeah.
That is not a small thing, and you are in these spaces and known, and in songs and in rap videos, and like it spans generations.
I don't feel my age. I mean, I feel like I'm, like I said,
Jeff, I'm not calling you old.
Huh?
I'm not calling you old. It's a compliment.
I was playing with you. No, so it's like when you live in the moment, and you stay relevant.
Yeah.
The problem of people, even very successful people, they get stuck in a moment in time, because there was a moment in time where they were happy and they were successful. Maybe they had a great girlfriend, they had a great boyfriend, maybe they had that great car, and that was 20 years ago. Or so they still had their earring, they still have the long hair, still have the do-rag, they still have the lower pants, or whatever, because they want to freeze that moment, and they don't want to evolve with that time. I chose to kind of evolve with my time, and try to know what's going on. I want to, the minute you want to start learning, that's where you start slowing down. For me, I'm passionate about learning about AI. I'm passionate about learning about, educate myself. I mean, I want to take lessons I'm a good accountant, actually, but I'm not a certified accountant, but I love it. I love numbers. I love to learn new things and new techniques, and I'm always exploring to try to be better, just for myself. It just, that hunger makes you create the desire. So I always have the desire. I always build up the desire for everything that I do. And my passion drives all that.
Yeah, and that staying relevant is a tricky thing to do, but the quality of your work always cuts through.
Eh, I'd like to think it does, and also it's kind of like also you're protective. I mean, I want everybody that looks up to me to be successful, but I don't want anybody to come and compete with me. So in a way, a lot of people want to compete with me, but I kind of always try to raise the bar. I always try to raise the bar. So when people start copying me or trying to get closer, because my name was bigger than theirs, I start signing my jackets. And I start dating them, or I start creating certain things, or I start creating a piece of art to go with it. And but every so often I come up with something more to add to the product, that to the point that I don't sell a jacket because you are cold. I've used that many times. I say, you don't buy a Jeff Hamilton jacket because you're cold. Like you don't buy a Rolex because you know what time it is. It's kind of like, it's kind of a flex, but also it's more a flex for yourself than for somebody else. I always tell people, like, I flex, with certain things, but really, if I was not flexing myself for myself first, there's no purpose. You have to feel good in your skin when you do certain things. And in life, I think it's very important to be as authentic as you can. So to that extent, you want people to read you the way you really are. But we all have filters. I have my filters. I have my glasses. I have my tan. I have my beard. I have my hair. I have my jacket. Those are like my security blankets that I have. But I'm aware of it. And like a woman goes out and she puts her makeup and she puts her high heels and she puts her bag. Or so we have to have certain things that make you feel good. When you look at stuff in the mirror, you feel good. Then you build up the confidence. And I think it's important to. The ultimate goal is always to try to be as authentic as you can be, and nobody is really 100%. But if you can do that, that's where you can control your destiny. You're not depending on the boss to tell you what to do, or a banker to tell you you have that much line of credit and this and that, and you're independent, whether it's financially or intellectually.
What do you get inspired by?
By life, every moment, everything inspires me. So but it's also it's not as sexy as we could make it to be. It's just not like I wake up in the middle of the night and I put my finger and I just start thinking. I start painting on a piece of paper and waking up, and it's just like, I've done it so much that we know the road. You've come so many times to the same destination that how. Even if you don't take the main road, you can take the side street. You're going to get to the destination. The point is for me to get to the destination at all time, and I don't care how long it takes me. And so, in that way, we are mechanical in a way, but it's rather than mechanical is experience and knowledge that we have. It's like when you do an interview, you know what sensitive points to take. You know what research you need to do. It's every profession, every uh, f- art form has his own direction.
Mm-hmm. Have you had a point in your career where you've had a lull or a lack of inspiration that you had to break through?
Very much so, yeah. Yes, I was very successful up to 2002. I sold my company, made a lot of money, and I was a CEO of a big public company, the company that bought me, and again, the entitlements, sets in, and start spending the money and living the high life, and being successful has everything in life is balance. So being successful has this advantage and the perks, and it has also this is by points, so it's a blessing and a curse. So when you're very successful and you're young and you know you move better than the people that bought the company from you, and you're more famous than they are, and you're getting the attention. There is like in everything, every relationship that you have, business, personal, there is anytime there is something emotional that gets in the middle, uh, it affects the relationship, whether it's jealousy, whether it's like ego, any kind of. It's very hard to control egos or emotions like that, or jealousies, and I was too successful for those people, so they I was making too much money, and so they tried to find a way to push me out. So, and I didn't care. So in 2005, I kind of like left the company. They didn't pay me the rest of the money they owe me, and then we got into the American system of the legal system with the lawyers and this and that, which they all made the money. And but I'm set. I don't have to worry. So I keep on not changing one bit in my life. I'm still the big home in Beverly Hills, and all the Rolls Royces, and then the Shelby and the Viper and the Bentleys and the travels and all over in Saint Tropez and this and that and that. So and then you realize, like, 5 years had gone by, like a lot of your capital has gone down, and you're not relevant. You don't even know what's going on, and and then you try something. You decide, what, I'm going to go back and try something, and it's not working.
Mm.
And you say, what, maybe I'm so burned out because those people. I've had so much jealousy in my life of people that try to take my energy. I call them vampires. That's the real meaning of vampire. People don't want your blood. People want to take your energy, and uh, and I really didn't want to be in the fashion business. I didn't want to use my name, Jeff Hamilton, in everything that I was doing. I kind of like wanted to. I just wanted to switch to another business. So I got into private equity. I got um, into art, and because I'm an artist as well. But then I created an art fair, but nothing was really working. I mean, because you're dealing with people that really were so needy and so entitled and I could not babysit people. I could not do things like that. So to the point that basically I kept deploying parachutes after parachute. When I mean a parachute, it's selling a home, selling this property, selling my memorabilia collection, which was like over 2,000 pieces of everything from the championship belts to the 17 jerseys of Michael and jerseys of Kobe and championship rings and this and that, and I mean, I can't even tell you how much I had, but you start selling all the stuff and the properties, and then it comes a point where you say, you know what, I'm here like I'm 60 years old, and I cannot I cannot survive without going out and working, and you fall into depression,
Mm.
which is a great feeling, by the way. I mean, you feel depressed. It's like you start feeling for yourself, sorry for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then suddenly you try to get out of it, and you try to get out of it, and it's like you fall, you try to get up, and you cannot, and ultimately you get up. And when I got up 4 or 5 years ago, then it was like, for me, a miracle. I didn't even expect it. I mean, that's kind of like God or the universe telling you, you know what, you paid your dues now, because I never was lazy. I never was, you know. Uh, I really wanted to work, but I just could not find my way. I had lost my mojo. I honestly didn't look at myself in the mirror. I didn't like myself. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. It's just like my family fell apart. Just uh, and it was a very very trying time for me in 2019. I did not I didn't want to be around, and then I got into a car accident in 2019. broke my arm, broke my wrist, my elbow, my shoulder, fractured my shoulder, fractured my sternum. I mean, I was like 5 days in the hospital. And, like I told, I've never done drugs. I started taking pills and pills and pills. And I smoked a little weed like maybe 10, 15 years ago I started, which I don't have a problem with. I don't do it a lot, but occasionally I don't mind. The only reason why I don't do it is because it makes me lazy. That's all. But I enjoy the feeling. And but I was overdoing everything like that. But I was not doing like hard drugs, just like pills. And suddenly it's just like things start opening up. Uh, I didn't understand why. In 2019, I had 1,200,000, 1,300,000 followers. I had no idea why. I did not get it. I mean, I never posted anything new because I didn't like myself. I only posted like a picture of Nelson Mandela wearing my jacket, or Michael Jordan, or Kobe, or Guns N' Roses, or Motley Crue, or pictures of me when I was young riding my bike and my cars and my home, stuff like made me feel good. I didn't do it for. And suddenly, like I start getting a different energy. And a couple of rappers, from I did the original Dipset stuff with Cameron and Jim Jones and Joel Santana. Jim Jones called me and said, him and Vado, we want to write a song about you. What would you, in my mind, what would you, who cares really? And so you have jackets. I said, I really don't have any more jackets. I mean, I had maybe 10 jackets left, in my closet. And I said, would you loan it to us for the video? We want you to come. I said, I'm not going to go to New York and spend $2,000 or $3,000 just to go for a video. And I really don't care. Nobody's going to hear it to start with. So I sent them the jackets, and they sent it back to me, of course. And then another day I opened, so they wrote a song called Jeff Hamilton, and everybody's just saying it, but in the meantime, also, when I went to different places, people said, oh, you're Jeff Hamilton, legend. Legend? For what? And you're 20 years old. I mean, Kobe was when he won the championship was 18 years ago. I mean, you were 2 years old. How do you know of me? So now suddenly Instagram opened the door for me for people to understand the body of work I've done before. But I didn't realize that I had that behind me. And then one day I opened my DM, and there was somebody that came and said, I'm a big fan of yours. I love what you've done with all the athletes, and I'm from Harlem, and I love what you've done with the athletes and hip hop, and you've really made a mark in the culture, and I'm a big fan of yours. I didn't pay attention. I said, thank you, my friend. I always answer my DMs. I don't care. I have 500 DMs a day. I answer every single one of them, whether it's an emoji, a little heart, or something, but I always do. And I said, thank you, my friend. That's it. And then the guy goes on and said, well, if you're ever in Beverly Hills, let me know. I'd love to take you out to lunch. I'm not working. I mean, let me see who it is. And I look at the page, and honestly, I didn't know who it was. I knew the name, but I had no idea who it was. It was A$AP Rocky. At the time, it was like, end of 2019, probably December 2019, he had like 15, 16 million followers. I said, sure, I'll go for lunch. So we had lunch, and I said, you don't know what you mean to us. We saw us with Cam and Dipset, and what you did with Kobe and Michael. And we, for us, it was always the holy grail to get a Jeff Hamilton, because, obviously, I mean, and, I appreciate all the other brands like the Vansons and the Avirex and the Pele Pele. I mean, they always did a great job, whatever they did, but I was 3 times, 4 times the price. So you could buy a Pele Pele for $400 or $500. Mine was $2,000, $3,000 a jacket. I'm talking in 98, 97, 96. And we loved it because we could not afford it. And we loved it because also my work was different. There was more detail to it, and we had more, there was more investment to the product. And I said, you mean a lot to us, and you need to come back again, and just we were always speaking with Virgil, we're speaking with Don C about you all the time, and you inspire them to do what they are doing, and for me, that's all news to me. I mean, how come everybody around me never supported me like here, like a whole new generation of young kids, like are appreciating me. So he said, I really want you to make a jacket for me. I said, sure. Honestly, I didn't have any idea of how to make a jacket again. I didn't have the factory. I didn't have the workers. I didn't have anything. Uh, and he said, anyway, there's no way I can make a jacket in 2 weeks. It was for Yams Day in Brooklyn Center. Uh, so I said, but if you want to, I'll loan you one of my jacket. And he said, sure. But I want you to come and bring it to me. I say, I really don't want to go to New York. I mean, like, I really didn't want to spend the money. I didn't want to be there. I really didn't feel good in my skin. I still had like my big sling, and I had my cast, and I was like in pain, and my beard was big like that. I just like, and I dyed it like black like this. I just like, I just hated myself. And so he convinced me to go so I was on the phone when he asked me to come, and I hung up the phone. 10 minutes later, I said, I'm Rocky's assistant. So we have a first class ticket for you to New York. We have you staying in this hotel. We'll have a car service picking you up. Rocky really wants you to do and bring the jacket. So I didn't have the jacket that he wanted, which was a Lamborghini jacket. So we did. I told him I would loan you the Kobe jacket, and the Kobe jacket that I had, nobody knows, but it was the actual first one that was ever made. Before I even made the jacket for Kobe, and it's called a Kobe jacket, but it's also the Shaq jacket. So
Right.
we did those at the same time. So when you did the Kobe jacket, that was kind of like my sample of how I tried, how I liked the colors, I changed and I played. Because before we didn't use that much, we didn't have that many graphic artists where we could visualize. I always had that gift of being able to visualize an idea and see and project it in my mind of how I would see the product finish just by knowing what the project is. And so I loaned him the jacket, and he came out, and so I ended up going there. I was backstage, and then suddenly like outpouring of love from everybody, from 2 Chainz and from who was like Lil Yachty and Rihanna. It's just when it started going out with Rihanna. So I had made some jackets for her over the years. In between, when I stopped in 2005 till 2019, I still made jackets. One here, one for Rihanna. I did Drake's when Kobe retired. I did a couple of pieces here and there, but really was not, it was not a business for me. I really wanted some time to come back, but I really wanted to. I was attracted, but I was trying to push it myself because I had been hurt so much by my success. Hurt with my family, with my friends, because I was different.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I mean, the next stage, so I was there. He shouted my name out on stage. I was with him on stage, and there was 16,000 people, and Virgil was there. Everybody was there the next day. Supreme posts me, Virgil posts me, and then just like, I don't know, so we got like 100,000 more followers, and then just the next week or so after that, and suddenly everybody, legend this, legend. Legend for what? I'm just making jackets. That's all I'm doing. It's not like I invented like a brain the surgery or like a cure for cancer. And then but he ignited that flame in me. That as a combination of people showing me the love, and as the song, as seeing the audience of my Instagram engaging with me and being more, and I really my far got engaged and get more, and maybe from an ego standpoint, because suddenly they knew the name Jeff Hamilton, which I was trying to push away. Even when in during those tough years, I came up with another brand. I didn't want to use the name Jeff Hamilton. I didn't want people to know I was even behind that brand, and I think it might have been the best designs I've ever made in my life, but people did not understand it. I was probably 10 years too early for that. Um, and then I start. A friend of mine gave me an office, a desk in one of his warehouse, and I started going and working every day. At least like I had a purpose to do something. I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing lists. I was making emails. Then people start calling me. People want to do collaborations with me, and that's just like within the first 2 weeks. And then the huge tragedy. Kobe dies, January 26th. Then suddenly we all devastated, because he was just meant so much to us, especially when I mean, I'm not going to say especially in Los Angeles. I think he hit everybody
Yeah.
across the world. Whether you knew him personally or didn't know him, it all hit us in a very, very strong way. And especially the way the tragedy happened. But in a way, somewhere, I think I have a blessing of Kobe. So Kobe kind of blessed me at that moment because the whole world suddenly realized that they connected him with that jacket, that moment, that sad moment when he was in the shower. And we all know, or we might not know why the moment, why he was sad at that moment. He was in Philly. He won a championship. He grew up as a Philly fan, and his dad played for the Sixers, and people booing him the whole night. And then he had a falling out with his parents as well during that time. And then he was like, he needed that moment to meditate and have that alone moment. And that's what he was sad. He was really in a trance when it happened. But that picture became the most iconic picture, and that jacket became the most famous piece of fashion in sports history. It has been voted that much. I mean, it's not the most famous picture in sports history. I think the Sonny Liston picture might be more famous, or Jordan.
No, but it's
All-Star.
it's
So,
it's
but
certainly
it has
up
this
there.
moment to
Yeah.
that, and suddenly, Instagram started blowing up for me. And I'm getting people say, I need to get that jacket. I need to get the 2000. I need 2001. I need 2002. I need to do back-to-back. I need a three-peat. So I cannot make those jackets. I don't have a license with the NBA. I call the NBA and just, and I always had an amazing relationship with the NBA, all the way from David Stern to Adam Silver, and since 1988. I had designed the 50 greatest players in the NBA in 1997. I called them and said, I don't know what to do. I have people that want the jacket. And again, I still don't know how to produce a jacket, but I have an idea, and the people I was doing for me, I mean, they were charging me 4 times the same price that they were charging me 15 years ago, and so he's like, if I'm selling that jacket for at $2,000, I have to sell it at $6,000-$7,000 suddenly, But I don't find the resistance. People want it. It's like a part of history. And so the NBA said, just go ahead, do it. If it becomes a real business, then we'll talk again, and then we'll address it. But right now, you just go ahead and do it. So they gave me also the blessing to do that, and suddenly I start doing it. Then there is the All-Star game in Chicago, and obviously and the Super Bowl in Miami, where it was actually Saquon Barkley called me and he wanted to wear my jacket, and OBJ wore my jacket too. So they're all calling me. I'm loaning them those same 10 jackets. I'm floating them around. And then at the All-Star game, I send one to Dave East and one to Ludacris and one to Chance the Rapper. And, all the stylists are calling me, say, what do you have for us to wear? So I really want to have the present. But I'm still not going to Chicago. I'm still kind of like still holding back a little bit. But I'm start to build up my whole aura and energy into me. And I said, now I want to work because I feel an opening. Suddenly, like COVID hits. Now suddenly, shut down. And I said, this is a moment for me this is the sign of God that I need to come out even stronger now. When everybody's going to be on their bed watching MSNBC, in my case, or other people, Fox, I'm going to be working. And I'm just going to be very careful because obviously I want my family, that to be healthy. I don't want to get sick. So I believe in science. So any opportunity I had to do vaccines or being tested, I did it. So I was basically tested once a week. I never quarantined 1 minute in my life. I never had COVID up to now. And I still, I say when people will wake up from their coma, I'll be 100 miles ahead of them. When they woke up, I was 10,000 miles ahead of them, whatever it was. So, and that's kind of like I took advantage of that thing for me to rebuild where people were standing still, so I could run ahead and get a head start for that. And I decided I'd also change my whole perspective of how I wanted to run a business. I said I want to be authentic. I don't care to scale my business like I did in the past and the millions of dollars. I'm not complaining, but I'd rather be smaller, but controlling my own destiny. I don't want to know that I have my mortgage in my house towards 2018. My mortgage was $38,000 a month. I mean, I was not working. I mean, how you come up with every month? And I was stressed and stressed and stressed. I don't want to I want to live a stress-free life. And if I don't have it in my pocket, I'm not spending it. I'm not going to spend on a credit card. I'm going to spend. If I don't have a car, if I have my car, I own it. If I have if I buy from a supplier, I pay in advance. I don't care if I have 6 months credit. I still pay it. When I use my card and I have 30 days to pay, I pay the next morning. And in a way, that's me try to build up letting go of everything. And just if I can eliminate any source of getting a problem, I can focus completely my life into my baby, which is my business and my passion. And I rediscover my passion. I rediscover that I really love to do what I do. And I really enjoyed the process of creating and be around people. I mean, that's my most rewarding. I mean, I love working and I love being behind the computer, but really where I think I'm better at is just when I'm on the road, when I'm at an event where I meet people. I'm non-transactional. I like the idea that, of course I want to be financially successful. But I love the fact that I don't want to chase anything. I don't chase money. I don't want to chase anything. I mean, I love to put all the right energy. The same way I told you the analogy about that seed that you plant on the ground is, I just want to give all my best right here. Let the tree grow of its own. Let the leaves go up and let the fruit come out at the end. And that's the way I chose to live my life. And I'm very happy. I mean, it's very tempting because there is a lot of great opportunities that are coming in, but that means I have to scale up my business. And that means I have to take, investments. I have to take partners. And, of course, it's like, short term, it's very enticing because you say, well, I'm cashing in and doing it. But at the end of the day, I said, I have not a plan that I want to ever retire. I don't care if my last day in my life is on my desk or on the phone. I don't mind. I mean, I'm okay with it, just as long as I'm doing something I love.
Jeff is the best. The most interesting man on the planet. To church and back. I'm like, listen, I'm reading a book right now. Jeff's just repeating all the lines from it. That is really well, it's the first time I've heard that story from you. Heard lots of very interesting stories from you, which you kind of touched on a lot of them anyway. You see, like casually just mentioned Nelson Mandela. Yeah. Like just I made a jacket for Nelson Mandela very casually. Your story is incredibly inspirational because that moment specifically, I think everybody goes through some version of that. But speaking just specifically to creatives, you can lose your way. And you say you have Kobe's blessing. I believe it. Like you have the moment of clarity almost, is what it sounds like, that puts you in a place where you could dig in, not just professionally, but also emotionally and spiritually into yourself and pull yourself out of that space. Like that's an amazing thing to have happen in your life.
And one of the things that, and I just don't want to be, I kind of touched on it earlier, is just like often when I do interviews, when I speak to people, and when I even think about it, is obviously I try to be spiritual and learning about it, but really the key is it's not about learning about spirituality, and it's try to apply it to your everyday life. If you can really apply spirituality in your everyday life, I mean, this is the hard part. I mean, we can all preach all we want and all stuff, but if we don't act like what we're doing, then, and I'm not saying I'm the perfect human being and I do everything by the rules. I mean, I try my best, but one of the important things that I realize is because I went through the dark times, and I often say it's when people say, what was the best time of your life? If you had to think back like of the last, 6-7 decades almost, what were your best part of your life? Best part of my life where it's not my youth. It's not, of course, when I had my first kid, when you had this and that, and, my first million, not even that. I mean, it's just the best part of my life was the darkest time of my life. When I was in the darkest time, when I was on top of that building and it was all dark in a room, and I was in a corner curled and depressed and feeling sorry for myself. Because you think about that time, you look through the window, nobody can see you, but you can see the world clear moving around. And you see all the moving parts, whether it's your family, whether your friends, whether it's the world at large. And you kind of, if you get the inner strength to just to evaluate that and take that as a lesson, it just motivates you to just come out even stronger, and also give you the perspective. The perspective. Listen, if would we see, probably, yeah, but would we see Michael Jordan play every single game if every time he got the ball and he shot it from everywhere in the court he would make it, or Steph Curry? I mean, we wouldn't want to go see the game. It wouldn't be interesting. What's interesting is the fact that once in a while he misses, and it gives you the perspective of that. And it's just, and to give another analogy of Michael Jordan, when I talk about the passion, if Michael Jordan was not the biggest icon there is in sports right now, and after 40 plus years, and it was not worth the money that he's worth. I mean, at 63 years old, he'll be in his backyard shooting hoops and being happy because that's his passion. And that's the way I'd like to think that if I was not designing, I will be doing some kind of art stuff, which is what I did when I was out. I was creating art, and I wanted to be in a creative space in anything, because it needs to get out of me. I mean, I need to just go out and I have the urge of doing it. And that's the reason why my biggest fear is not being able to maximize my potential. And I want to be whatever I'm channeling from God and the universe. I want to be able to put it out there as much as I can. And that's why there's no time to sleep right now.
You definitely don't sleep. I don't know how he sleeps. You are in 3 different countries in a week. Speaking of, you have a partnership with the World Cup coming up. And you have this incredible, kind of always evolving brands. Like, you have all these new partnerships. I mean, if you don't follow Jeff on social media, you should go follow me. He always has something new coming up. But has there been anything that you've worked on recently? I mean, World Cup is obviously a massive, massive deal. That's really been an extra boost of or just like something that you weren't expecting to come across your plate?
There is a lot. I mean, obviously, World Cup is amazing. Obviously, growing up in being born in Morocco and being raised in France. I mean, like, I always have been a basketball fan. So for me, basketball was like a dream for me. Like, I always wanted to play basketball. I was a good player when I was a kid in France. When I came to America, I was not that good of a player. but I had the poster of Will Chamberlain and Lou Alcindor and Jerry West in my room when I grew up. And little I knew that I was going to meet all those people and create for them and befriend them. So basketball is always kind of like my go-to for that excites me. And I believe that basketball is also the seed of our culture, of our current culture. I think without basketball, there is no sneakers, there's no Michael Jordan, there is no Allen Iverson and streetwear, and there's no street art. And I believe that hip hop, everything is all interconnected, and through that.
Yeah.
And that evolved all the way to the big luxury brand like Louis Vuitton and Balenciaga and Prada, and all interconnected that. But I believe that basketball is the seed level for that. So, but having said that, soccer was very important for me because that's all we watched on TV when I was a kid and growing up. So for me, it's also kind of, we were talking about it a bit earlier, getting back to my roots. It's kind of like, it's going back to my roots, just going to soccer and going to Zurich a couple of months ago, I don't even know when it was, and being in the FIFA headquarters and see all the history and the Pele and like just like Maradona and just all those Michel Platini and just all those beautiful moments and the history of it is so strong, and going through the museum and going through all the archives and being able to get that contract without, and again, and that's something I didn't chase. They came to me for that. Mm-hmm. So it's overly flattering and very rewarding for me to be able to not take that opportunity and not to be able to do the best I can with it. So I have that. We're probably working on 150 different projects. I mean, literally between 150 to 200 projects at all times. There is. So we have a couple of 150 to 200 projects at all times. It can revolve it. So we work from, right now we have a couple of drops with Supreme that are coming up. One of the projects I'm really very interested in, most interesting for me also because it's also going back to my roots and I grew up dreaming and loving. It was the Harlem Globetrotters. So I start working with them. I'm designing the new. It's a 100th anniversary of the Globetrotters, Harlem Globetrotters, mm-hmm. And obviously, again, also in hip hop, I believe that the cultures, hip hop starts in Harlem. So it's kind of like Harlem Globetrotters, basketball, Harlem, red, white, and blue in a way that we love it.
Right.
Being the 250th anniversary of America next year, I think it's just. Everything is just all the alignment is there to be a beautiful, creative moment, and then hoping for better politics in our world.
Yes, we all are. I mean, you talked about it earlier. I mean, you came here as an immigrant and have built an unbelievable legacy and business multiple times over, and are completely integrated in the culture of American society. And it's very not that we have to get political, but you brought it up. It is sad for me to see the growing hatred towards immigrants because there's so much beauty in all of our gather diversity.
All of us. I mean, Elon Musk is an immigrant. His wife is an immigrant. It's just like, we're not going to go there, but it's just like the beauty of being an immigrant, and where I take advantage of, where I see where the advantages that we have is we're hungry. we come in, we want to be the best we can. We want to elevate ourselves. We want to rise above what we had for a better life for our families. And you want to be the best at what you do. And we're not users. We fit into a system, but we want to excel at what we do to try to bring it. And one of the reasons I think I succeeded in culture is because I watched the American culture through a different lens. I mean, I looked at the varsity jacket when I was a kid, and it was a big dream for me to have a varsity jacket. So when I came in 1974 for the first time in America, and I had $120 for a whole month, I walked into UCLA and I just paid $80 and I bought a varsity jacket. I had no money for the rest of the thing. I mean, I believe that the sleeves were made out of plastic. I mean, I'm not plastic like faux leather. They were actually plastic, kind of the plastic you use for the Halloween costumes, you know? But you know what? I put that jacket on and I felt like I was 2 feet taller. And I bought myself that skin, and that's where I felt building up my love for that. Even though I was not at all a designer. I had no dream of becoming a designer. I had no dream of fashion. And then later on, after I succeeded with Guess jeans as the first licensee in the menswear, and I left Guess, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was going to do another fashion line, but I really started gravitating more through jackets. Because, I thought I was a hot shot. I was, in my 20s, riding Harleys with Billy Idol and Motley Crue and James Caan. So we would ride. We felt like we were rebels in Malibu. And, so I wanted to look good. My hair was up to my shoulder, like down to here. I was with earrings and the whole thing. And so I started making jackets for myself. And everybody's going crazy. So I didn't know how even I made them. I would tell my source, cut the piece of leather and make it like that and just applique, put it like this. I didn't know. It just was easier for me to make it out of leather than to make it in embroidery. And I discovered new techniques as I was going through the process of doing that. And one thing led to the other. People start wanting to buy the jacket. So those are one of the most important part of my happiness and in my success is that I was able to be relatable through my jackets. I was able to send a message to the jacket. Like when somebody puts one of my jackets on, they feel a little bit different.
Can confirm.
And it's amazing that I've been able to get that much of a following just by people just going out and getting that feeling. And that's the feeling I feel. And I would never design something that I would not wear myself. So I don't care if somebody gave me 20,000 units of a style and I didn't feel good and I was simply doing for the money, I would not do it. And as I would not do certain things, I mean, I was invited to go to the White House 5 years ago. I turned it down. I am not for sale, and I'm happy the way I am.
Well, we're grateful you're here, Jeff. You have unbelievable stories, and you are a legend. I know you don't like to hear that, but you are a legend. I don't know. I'm like speechless for the first guest that got me speechless. It really is. It's just fascinating. You're just casually talking about riding bikes in Malibu with Billy Idol. What do you mean?
So,
but Jeff, when you say things like this, you don't think that's crazy?
No, I mean, it is what it was. I mean, for me, it was like, I looked at it. My heart was palpitating when it was around them. It still does. I mean, I've known Michael Jordan since 1986. I met him 100 times, at least. But every time I'm in Miami, I kind of try to find some kind of excuse to go to Grove 23. I want to show you something. Not to him, to his people. I have a new thing. We just made those jackets. We made that sample. I want to show you to get your thought. I end up going just to be around Michael, and there's nothing but love and humility from him. People don't say that from him, because we go back for so many years. But I'm going to be with Mike on Wednesday. Mike Tyson. It's the same feeling. I just those are people that my heart beats every time I'm around them because they have such an aura, such an energy. I feel like I'm a 2-year-old kid going to Disneyland for the first time and see Mickey Mouse. And I have that same feeling every time. And I just love that energy that I have from them. And that drives me all the time. So when I had Guess Jeans, I came up with the idea of putting leather on denims at the time in the 80s. And, there was a guy that was selling me the leather. And there was everybody. I was buying leather for whoever wanted to sell me leather because I couldn't find enough leather to do it. We were selling, 20,000 pairs a week of jeans. So this kid used to come and, this kid, he was my age, but I was a kid. So, and he would come and ride a Harley and came and deliver me and just show me the leather. I'd rather give him the orders to him because I was relating to him rather than an old white dude from Connecticut that was selling me like from an old tannery, they were nice. I was giving them business, but I'd rather just support somebody that was kind of like I could relate to. But he would come, so I started getting the love of bikes and things like that. And then he decided to start his own company. And so I said, well, I'll finish gas. Can I borrow your Harley? I'm going to do a photo shoot on the Harley. So I took a photo shoot and I went in Malibu, like in the countryside, kind of. There was a dirt road, and I'm riding the Harley and my hair flowing in the wind with my fringes jacket and things like that, and that was like one of the pictures that when I finished Gas and, the magazine started publishing because now Jeff is free as a bird. Now he can do whatever he wants to do now. And this picture is very symbolic for me. So actually somebody just did a painting of this one, and it's not an ego thing, but it means a lot to me. So it's in my office, not in my office, in my studio. And that kid was, when he started his company, was Chrome Hearts. And so when he came out, I just went out and I went to support him. I wanted to support him because I love the kid. He was a nice guy. So I started buying from him. So I probably have the first 5 or 10 belts that were ever made of Chrome Hearts. And I've been offered stupid money for it. I would never sell it, And over the years, I probably lost most of all the stuff I had from him. And he's been obviously very successful, and I'm very proud of his success because he was always a great guy, and he deserved it.
So it's so casual, all of it.
No, it's just like
it's like you have mentioned Nelson Mandela, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Rihanna, Drake. Like I can't even remember all of the people that you've mentioned today. It's like your influence is and now you're saying that you just were at the beginning of Chrome Hearts.
I was not. That was all the credit to him. I had nothing to do with it. But he was like, he was already in the leather business. So it's not like, and he had.
But your influence is in a lot of places.
Yeah, listen, people that worked for me over the years. If I give you names of people that, I'm not going to say something that has not been said before, but Don C. Don C. was Virgil's partner, and he said it on camera that he wrote me, gave me a trophy one time. He said, you inspired us. You were our mentor growing up. In the 90s, Virgil and I and Kanye, which I would not do business with, we were inspired by you because in the 90s in Chicago, there was only Jeff Hamilton. There was only Michael Jordan. And that's all there was. You know, every year we had 6 championships. Everybody's going crazy over those jackets, and everybody needed to have one of that. So we were following you through those years, through the 50 greatest players, through Cleveland in 1997, through even so. It is what we wanted. Um, and for me, I mean, I didn't know those things till 3-4 years ago. I didn't even know that when Cameron did Get 'Em Girls. You know, I knew he mentioned name like Jeff Hamilton, Genesis, Leather Time. You know, I mean, that was in the song. You know, I knew that. I mean, I knew him mentioned in many songs, but I didn't know that Kanye was in the video, and this guy was in the video, and Virgil was in the video, Don C was in the video, like in the background, like all like the posse, you know, and Cameron was wearing on nothing but my jackets. And then, you know, a few years later, I mean, like last year, 2 years ago, Drake had a concert at the Apollo Theater, and Dipset came out, and Cameron loaned him all those jackets, and he actually Drake shouted me out like on stage. Look, I'm still have the jacket signed by Jeff Hamilton. So I never realized that. So the people from True Religion, you know, at one point of time when I was, I guess, you know, I mean, they couldn't get certain denim, so I would sell them my denim because I had access, unlimited access, because we were the big dog at the time. You know, the people from J Brand, the people from the brand Casablanca, for instance. You know, I mean, it's one of my dear friends that founded the brand, and I mean, obviously, you always see me wearing Casablanca, and I'm a big fan of that brand because it really took it to a different, you know, it's something that I love and I appreciate because it's just getting to a different level. And the guy is just 30 years younger than me, and he's born in Casablanca, like I'm born in Casablanca. He's Muslim, I'm Jewish. But, you know, we have that brotherhood that, you know, that's the beauty that we have in Morocco, that we have no separation between religion, rich or poor. We're very proud of our heritage, you know, and whatever religion that we have. You know, I could be walking in Morocco and hear a imam on top of a mosque calling for prayers, and it resonates with me when I get my heart, I get beating because I feel the sensitivity of and the love that there is, even though I'm from a different faith. And it's just, and he told me, I said, you know, I was in a club business, I was, you know, we always loved, you know, we loved the Kobe jackets. You know, we saw those jackets, you know, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something that inspired me. And then you don't know, but I was inspired by you when I started my company. I said, well, I didn't know I'm inspired by you, by what you're doing right now. So we ended up doing collaborations together. We did a collaboration with Bathing Ape. We did collaboration with Billionaires Boys Club. We just finished something with Pharrell. So we really are pretty much all over the world. So we're doing something right now. I'm going to Tokyo in 10 days from now. And, you know, we have like 4 or 5 big projects ongoing that, you know, hopefully we will do it. Then we're going to Korea, you know, so we're planning to open stores in Korea. We already have the floor plan to basically open 100 stores in China within the next couple of years. So it's just, it's there, it's moving. It's just not like, you know, it's just not, it's a passion project for me, and I want to keep authentic to that. But it's also building up in a way that it's okay, we can build and be happy with it, you know, as long as I'm not there making every sale in every single store.
Well, we started with asking about Kobe. Do you think that the Kobe jacket is the most important piece that you've made in your career? This is a tough question because of everything that you've just talked about.
You know, it's every design of mine, for me, has a special meaning. But from a commercial and the most famous jacket without any doubt, is a Kobe jacket. My most favorite jacket is probably the Michael Jordan jacket. Repeat the three-peat. Because it's kind of like really opened the door to understand that the jacket is more than just a piece of clothing. It was the actual trophy. When you win a championship and you've been your whole life in sport with your family and you understand sport, the biggest achievement that you have when you win a championship is that championship ring. So you win the championship in June, you have to wait till October, end of October for the beginning of the season when it's ring night. That's when you get the validation. We live in a world of instant gratification. We just don't want to wait. We want to see things right away. You know, we're anxious. Time is shorter. So in '98, that's already over 30 years ago, close to 30 years ago. When I did the first jacket in '91, so it's actually 34 years ago. So I didn't know what I was doing, but I guess it got channeled to the point where when the athletes start wearing that jacket, when Michael started wearing the jacket in '91, it didn't become as public till it became really hit heavy in '95, '96, '97, '98. It became the validation. So on the '98 jacket, there was 6 trophies. It showed the record that they had of this year. They had the finals logo on there. It showed the map of the skyline of Chicago. It had the red, the black. It had the basketball material. It had whatever it was. It was in the '76. I kind of picked up the patent leather shoes that he was wearing, and I put some accent on the thing. So it's kind of like an artist that paints on a canvas. My jacket is my canvas. I'm able to tell my best storytelling. Rather than do it on a piece of canvas, I can do it with something that people can put it on and tell a story. So, and more than anybody else, Kobe understood that because he was such the way he revered Michael Jordan and even the way he spoke, the way he carried himself. And I think he took it to another level, where even in his game, where he was so dedicated just to be the best at, and creating the whole Mamba mentality that we say, but he was really focused on being the best. But even off the court, when he won that championship, that was very meaningful to him. And even LeBron, when LeBron, was interviewed for TNT during the 2022 75 greatest players, he said, the only thing I remember during the 50 greatest players, it was like, I saw all those great players, like all coming out with those leather jackets. That's kind of like, I want to be one of those. And it's just, we don't understand how success is only through our lens. It's through other people's lens. And just to go back to what we talked about it as to my point of an immigrant, when you look at it, I see the beauty of America. I see the beauty of the Western stuff. I see the beauty of the cowboy hats. I see the beauty of the vintage stuff. I just did a jacket for I'm promise you, I'm not flexing and I'm not throwing a name that you say, oh my God, you did. No, I just did a jacket for MGK for his new album, and I really wanted to be Americana. And what was Americana? So we kind of took the look of the Marlboro cigarettes, and kind of like, and I made a jacket around the same theme without copying, but inspired by that, So those are, I love. His album is called Los Americana, which is exactly where the space I want to be. I love the big tankers of that are all full of chrome, and then the old vintage cars, and just that, for me, that's how I get high, just by looking at that beauty. And I was in Aspen like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm looking at the beauty of how beautiful America is, and the beautiful things that we have, and And we have to be appreciative of the good stuff and not for the negativity that we have. And like every night or every dark time will have a morning and a bright time. So I believe we stay the course, we don't give up, and we always will be. If we do everything right, everything will be right.
I don't know how we're going to top this one, Jeff. It's really, really tough. I really appreciate you coming down. You're the best. I know this is like 15% maybe of your stories. Can't confirm, but I really appreciate it. And you being so open about your story.
You're my friend, and it's an honor to be with you and talk to you openly. I have no holds bar here.
Well, that's best. You got to go personal. That's too personal. Thanks for coming down, Jeff.
Thank you.
That was amazing. So grateful to Jeff for coming by and blessing the pod with his amazing story. Make sure you go and follow him at Jeff Hamilton. I can't keep up with all of his announcements, but he will always have something going on over there, so go and check him out. All right, it's time for Never Too Personal. If you want to be a part of the show, you can email us at toopersonalpodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a DM to Too Personal Show on Instagram. This one says, I'm still having PTSD from a past relationship. It's been 5 years, and I still find myself in flight mode at a sign of anything I don't like. Nobody is perfect, and I'm sure it's fear. How do I reset going forward? Well, look, it sounds like that relationship was pretty stressful and toxic. Reset going forward is tough. I have to tell you, I deal with this a lot myself. PTSD is a very real thing. Obviously, as I do with most things, I suggest therapy. I did very intensive therapy after one of my more traumatic relationships, and it definitely helped prepare me to be in a healthy relationship. It helped me identify the issues that I was having, and personally, the issues that I was having was I was very bad with boundaries. I don't know, obviously, what it is that allowed you to be in a situation like that and what it was that happens. Obviously, I'm not saying that this is your fault, but when I left that relationship, I found a pattern in myself that I wanted to heal. And obviously, I also wanted to process everything that happened to me. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how to reset going forward. The best advice that I can give is to continue to try and find pockets of peace, to be still, find things that do not trigger your emotions in a negative way. Don't surround yourself with people that are toxic because they will also trigger you. Definitely find your version of therapy, whether that is working with a therapist, whether that is going to a group and working in group therapy, reading, listening to materials that are about healing and, processing trauma. It's all just a journey to move on from something that is incredibly traumatic. And everybody has a different way of processing trauma. And it can, in some cases, take a lifetime. So again, I don't know what your situation is. I know for me, I'm still processing and I'm still healing. And I definitely know the feeling of being in flight mode. And it can be exhausting. Sometimes you want to just relax, but the fear and anxiety of putting yourself in a situation because you have let your guard down of another traumatic problem or a traumatic person is a lot. But as I always say, professionals have great tools to help you with this. And the biggest thing is to also be easy on yourself. Like, be kind to yourself. Don't talk badly to yourself or about yourself. Reflect on the situation in a positive way. Identify if there are any patterns. For me, there definitely were. And, just be kind to yourself and source the things that make you feel like you are entering a journey of healing. But it can take a really long time in some cases, and you shouldn't put a time limit on yourself. Obviously, it can feel exhausting to be going year after year without feeling like you can exit that situation. But sometimes your body and your spirit needs that kind of time to feel at peace again. So I hope that hope your journey is positive, and wishing you the best. Thanks so much for writing in. If you want to be a part of the show, toopersonalpodcast@gmail.com or Too Personal Show. Thank you so much to Jeff Hamilton for joining us this week. Make sure that you hit subscribe and follow us on social media at Too Personal Show, and we'll catch you next week.